Oh yes, so we are live now. So welcome to this webinar on web push notification, and we've got Vivek from iZoto to take us through this. But before we get started, a couple of announcements. So on YouTube Live, and at any point in time, you can ask us a question by posting on the comment link on the right hand side. So I will just share with you. I'll show you how it's going to be done. So just put your comments, and I can look up the comments and I ask Vivek the question at the right time. So just to make sure that that you are logged in. I see there are 6 people who are watching right now. You can always put the comment here, and I will look up the comment and I will ask Vivek the question at the right time. Okay, so yeah, so I think Vivek has just is just logging in. So so welcome to this webinar. I think I will just wait for a minute for Vivek to log back. Okay, so Vivek is here. So Vivek, can you hear us?
Yes, Amitabh. Hi.
Okay, hi. Can you just yeah? So just a little bit on Vivek. Vivek is a graduate from IIT Bombay, and he is the CEO and founder of the product called iZoto, and which is a web push notification service. And Vivek has been running it for a year or so. And Vivek will take us through. So the format will be that Vivek will take us through a brief overview of the industry, what this product is all about, and how this product can help us grow our business. Okay, so without much ado, I'll just ask Vivek to get started, and I'll moderate. So put your questions, and we'll try to make it as interactive as possible. So Vivek, you can just share your screen, and then you can get started. And start with a little bit of yourself, like a little bit on your journey, so that we understand who you are.
Got it. Okay. All right. Hi everyone. Thanks Amitabh for the kind introduction. Right. Hi everyone. I'm Vivek Khandelwal. I'm the founder at iZoto. iZoto is a web push notification solution. Right. So we'll straight away dive into the topic here. Right. Now, as Amitabh said, right, web push notifications have been around for a while now. Right. We specifically have been working on this technology or concept for almost close to about say 16 months now. Right. We first rolled out a product almost about last year at this time. Right. Yeah. More than anything else, right? What is most important is to understand what is it that you mean by web push notifications, right? And why the idea of web push notification was introduced essentially. Right? So before we get there, what is important to understand is this, right? That building and distributing native software is extremely difficult. Now, what I mean by native software essentially is building mobile apps, right? Mobile apps for iOS, mobile apps for Android, Windows platform, BlackBerry platform, and so on and so forth. Right? Now, while the technology has essentially solved the problem of building it partially, right? Distributing the software becomes extremely tough marketer out there, right? Because end marketer has to target a different sort of customers, right? The ecosystem is completely different. It's not driven by the classic rules of engagement which we have known so far, right? And hence, a lot of people face challenge when it comes to acing the distribution game. Now, here is a quick snapshot of how native apps have featured as compared to the progressive app. Right? Now, just to reiterate, by native apps, I'm referring to the apps which you download from a Play Store or iOS or your iOS device, right? Now, so what is important to understand is this, right? The future, as we believe, clearly lies in mobile, right? And the future of mobile specifically revolves around web apps, right? There was a hoopla around native apps, for about almost 3 years, right? Between 2011 to 2014, the entire world was going gaga about creating another app, right? There was an app for literally everything out there, right? But again, most of these app developers and marketeers struggled uh, with driving distribution and adoption for their products, right? Now, what has happened parallelly is this, right? Over the past 15 to 18 months, right? When we act So when we look at hard data, right, and which is what you're seeing right now on this slide, is that uh, the overall adoption for new apps, right, has really gone for a toss, right? For instance, the fact that 50% of smartphone users in the US did not download another app on their device, right? Now that's a big figure to look at, right? It is also important to understand the fact that the web as a platform, right, and browsers as products have evolved very rapidly over the past 2 to 3 years, right? There was a certain advantages. So there was a certain advantage attached towards building a native app. The fact that apps were more engaging, they could be accessed in the offline mode, right? And just that the entire experience was very sticky, right? That really wasn't available on the browser, right? Which is why there was a clear surge in terms of usage of apps across the globe, right? Having said that, over the past 2 to 3 years, browsers have evolved rapidly, right? The word which is now being referred to is called progressive web apps, right? A lot of brands, businesses are now increasingly jumping on to the progressive web app bandwagon, right? Wherein they are creating
Vivek,
much more.
Sorry to interrupt. Like, can you tell us, like, what is progressive web app and how is it different from a native app? Like some
Sure,
example.
sure.
Yeah.
So a progressive web app fundamentally is just your websites, right? Website designed in a specific manner, which is optimized for mobile, right? Progressive web apps are there are essentially four key elements attached to a progressive web app, right? Because they work in the same way as as just another website on mobile, right? So they are responsive, right? Number two, they are discoverable, right? So you could still go on to a search engine, enter a specific keyword, right? Search for your brand, right? Click onto it, right? And enter the progressive web app directly, right? It still is pretty much web, right? The discovery does not change, right? And that really is the key here, okay? So they are
Is the same thing. Is it also called hybrid and hybrid app, or is it different?
No, so hybrid is a concept which is attached to native apps, right? Wherein one particular tech stack is used to make hybrid apps, which can be and those apps can be sort of ported to uh, iOS and Android, or even let's say a Windows app store, right? These are fundamentally based on the regular run of the mill web technologies, right? Just that they are they're far more evolved in terms of capabilities. For example, the experience is so much more like native apps, right? For instance, when you open a progressive web app, right? And a good example of this is the Flipkart mobile website, right? So, for example, if you're on the Flipkart mobile site, right, you would see a small prompt at the footer saying that would you want to add the website to your home screen, right? Which fundamentally allows you to open Flipkart directly by just clicking on a tab button, right? Now, what is important to note is this, right? That is not really an app. It will not consume storage on your device, right? Which is that it's a beautiful little icon, exactly like the Flipkart app, right? And it sits on your home screen. You can tap onto that and trigger and actually enter into the Flipkart store,
Right.
right? Okay,
So Vivek,
okay,
just to
right. So,
summarize, a progressive web app is more like is actually a
mhm.
website that looks like an app.
Absolutely, right? Now,
Right? And
actually,
yes, a native app is like they are like pieces of software built for mobile that
yeah,
we download from a web Apple store or a Apple or a Android store, which resides on our phone, right? And
Correct. Absolutely.
it can be made only for iOS, Apple, or only for Android, or it can work on both when it's called hybrid.
Well, hybrid apps are fundamentally, you have to deploy it separately, right?
Sure.
The tech stack remains same, right? But yeah, fundamentally, as a developer or as a business, you will still end up maintaining two different apps, right?
Correct.
In case of progressive web app, that's not the case. These can be accessed on both the devices, right? Fairly smoothly, right? Now, what is essentially happened over the past 2 years is that the capability of the browser of the modern age browser have been enhanced to the extent that they literally support almost all the features of a native web app, right? Features like splash screen, offline support, times, right? All of these features are now inbuilt in a progressive web app, right? Which essentially allows brands to create powerful experiences on the web, right? And ensure that the user doesn't have to do too much to engage with them, right? Otherwise, the user would have to go to the Play Store, search for the app, click on the app, install the app, then open the app, and then access the app, right? In this case, the user is required to just search on Google, right? Discover the brand, tap on the result, and boom,
Sure.
done, right?
Okay.
Okay, so that's the real advantage there right now. Now, because of the reach of the mobile web, right, in terms of sheer numbers, right? So for example, Chrome currently has over 1 billion users using its mobile, accessing Chrome on mobile, right? Now that's a powerful reach right now. Really remains the uh, essentially PWAs help you tap onto that larger user base, right? Now, so coming back to the concept of push notifications, right? The real problem statement which we have seen marketeers, right, struggle for a long time has been how to communicate more powerfully or how to communicate more impactfully with the end user, right? Of course, the world has seen email, right, for almost 2 decades now, right? Uh, over over the past 20 years or so, right, the response rates of email have gone down drastically, right? And that has happened because of two reasons, right? One, there's just too much of email being sent right now. I mean, 250 billion emails sent every day. That number is huge right now, right? And second, the fact that now mailboxes, right? Your mailbox today has far stronger filters for spam, right? Because of which fundamentally the open rates have gone for a toss, right? The existing alternates when it comes to communicating with the end user, right, are also very limited for a marketeer, right? Specifically when it comes to push-based communication, right? So there's email, there is SMS, and there are app notifications, right? And each of them have their own challenges, either in terms of cost or in terms of reach, right? Now, that is the exact problem which we have seen web push notifications solve for the modern age marketeer, right? Conceptually, the process is fairly simple. The end user is supposed to subscribe to notifications, so it's a very conscious opt-in, right? Now, given the fact the process of subscription is fairly simple, right? The user really has to just click on the allow button and it's done. And I'll sort of also show you how it is done as well, right? And the fact that the end user sort of responds better to notifications which they receive, right? So because of these two reasons, right, web push notifications have emerged as a beautiful communication channel, right? Now, what is also important to understand is this, right? From a evolution point of view, right, we've seen email reach its peak, and I believe email as a channel is now saturated as well, right? With web push notifications, we are fundamentally in the classic technology hype cycle, right? And you sort of, and I believe people have seen this graph at multiple places, right? This is a classic Gartner based illustrative, right? wherein they've covered the hype cycle around technologies, right? So email today is a very stable, known communication channel and a sort of plateau fundamentally. Right. Having said that, with web push notifications, right, we've barely scratched the surface right now. Right? We're looking at close to about 150 odd thousand websites across the globe adopting web push notifications. Right. To put a perspective to that number, we're looking at 1 billion websites across the globe. Right. 1 billion domains have exist right now on the internet. Out of these billion, 400 million are active websites. Right now, when you compare the number of 150K against that, right, clearly we are very early in the adoption stage right now. Now,
So
again,
Vivek,
right,
like how many would have enabled web push notification out of the 400 million which are active websites?
so we are looking at a number of about 150 odd, 150K.
Or 150K. It's a very small.
100,000, yeah, very small number, right? Very small number, right? So yeah, just sort of again go back to the point of web apps versus native app, right? Web apps, again, Amitabh, as you were asking, right, what's the difference? The difference is this, right? Web apps are agnostic to screen size, right? So if you are making a progressive web app, it will work just fine across devices, just fine across operating systems, right? It also, for that matter, has the ability to work offline, right? And of course, the fact that your web apps are indexable by the search engine out there, right? So you don't have to sort of worry about doing another set of optimization for discovery, right? Your classic rules of search engine optimization apply here pretty well, right? And the most important fact being that these are notifiable, right? So the web app has the ability to communicate with the end user, right? So that the end user can be brought back to the website, right? You can do those small nudges here and there, and ensure that the user can be send updates, alerts, reminders to your end user, and bring them back to your website.
Yeah.
Right.
So Vivek, if I can just come in on the last slide, like
Sure.
I mean, one advantage of web is that it's interconnected. All the websites, I mean, you can go from one website to the another, and SEO,
Yeah.
like Google does a good job of indexing the websites, so people can
Right.
search, find you on search, then go to your website, so you can actually get traffic without spending too much money. But the flip side is that one has to open a browser and get onto the web to access your website, while an app actually sits on your mobile phone and it resides in your pocket. So people can actually talk to you whenever they want to, which unlike a website owner cannot do that. I mean, for a website owner to talk to you, you need to log into the web, and then only the talking can happen. While here is, I mean, technically, like 24 hours, you can send a message. And now what you're saying is that your web app is a good mix of both of them. Like, it's discoverable.
Yes.
And at the same time, you can actually notify them whenever they are on the browser, but they still have to come onto the browser.
No, the end user is not required to be on the browser, right? So again, thanks for bringing this up. A brilliant point. The modern age web apps don't require the user to be actively browsing on the internet. Right?
Not actively browsing, but opening the browser. Like if the laptop is shut down, then obviously you cannot see the notification. I mean, they have to open the laptop and.
Well, the idea of progressive web app really is relevant in the context of mobile, right? So I'll compare them with another native app. So let's say if you have the Flipkart app on your mobile and the Flipkart progressive web app on a mobile, right? Both really are at par, in today's context, right? Because both the apps can send notifications, right? The user can simply tap on to the icon and trigger the Flipkart or enter the Flipkart store very smoothly, right? He or she doesn't really have to be on the browser to receive those notifications right now, and that really is a big advantage right now, right?
Correct. So for mobile phone it works just like an app.
Absolutely.
For a desktop, it still will work, but the person has to log in.
Correct. Yeah. So the end user must be on the browser, right? And that too, really is now another feature which is coming up on Chrome as well, wherein the notifications can be delivered irrespective of the user being on the browser also, right? For example, in case of
Okay.
Firefox, notifications are delivered without the user being on the browser, right?
Correct,
So
correct,
yeah.
correct.
So
Vivek,
even
before
that
we
part
go
is tick
forward,
marked.
Vivek,
Sure.
can you just show us a notification so that just we can just relate to this notification? We are talking about notification. Yes.
Perfect. Right. So,
Yeah.
so this is exactly how a typically. So there are two steps here, right? Number one, wherein the end user has to subscribe for notifications, right? And this is exactly how a notification prompt looks like, right? It comes up in case of mobile, it'll be a small prompt at the footer, right? In case of desktop, it'll be a small prompt right at the of the browser, right? So that's how the prompt looks like, right? And I'll just sort of quickly show you how a notification looks like. And this is how a notification looks like, right? If you just sort of look at this specific icon here right now, right? So this is how the notification will appear on your device, right? On mobile in this format, right in the notification tray. On desktop, it will come in the just above the Genius bar for you. I don't have anything else.
No, no. I mean, yeah. So once
Okay.
you are
Yeah.
visiting a website, they will ask you
Yeah.
a permission. So you have to say yes. And once you give
Yeah.
them the permission, then you can keep receiving these notification as a user, right?
Absolutely. Yes. You're
But
completely
permission
no,
based
based
is
on
what you are
this.
saying. But you actually, as a user, have to give the permission. If you
Correct.
don't give it, you will not receive, right?
Absolutely. 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 Right. Yeah. So just to sort of also add some more facts to this, right? As of now, web push notifications are supported by all the three browsers, right? Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. Screen, all browsers supported, all operating systems supported, right? So be it Linux, Windows, Mac OS, all browsers on all large screen machines will support web push notifications, number one. Number two, in case of mobile, as of now, only Android plus Chrome or Android plus Firefox supports web push notifications, right? iOS currently does not support web push notifications, right? It's a bit of a limitation right now, but again, right, the Apple team in the last update said that they are actively considering the idea of extending support, right? So let's see when that comes out. Right? So what we sort of cover from now is you know the three key things right now. One, how do you sort of go about implementation, right? Any important tick marks to sort of keep in mind, right? Then we sort of talk about how to ensure that the end user, right, end users that as a brand you can create powerful experiences for the end user, right? And third thing to ensure that how to implement push notification in a manner that the UX of your website is not disturbed, right? So yeah, what is important to note is this, right? Specifically in terms while implementing web push notifications as a product manager or as a marketer or developer, right? You need to ensure, one, you must use your own sender ID and to give you so what sender ID and server key means is this, right? Each browser has their own messaging platform. For example, Chrome uses Firebase Cloud Messaging. Apple uses Apple Push Notification Service, right? Sorry, Safari uses Apple Push Notification Service, right? And Mozilla uses MNS, the Mozilla Network Service, right? Now, you as a marketer or developer don't really have to sort of go out there and create ID on all of them, right? But specifically for Chrome, right? And because Chrome has the largest adoption out there in the market, right? You must ensure that you are using your own GCM sender ID and key. What that means is this,
Sure.
right? That you can log on to Firebase console yourself, right? And I'll so give you a quick overview here right now. Create your project ID and generate a server key for yourself, right? This doesn't take a lot of time. We'll sort of do a
Yeah.
quick
So,
test right now. Yeah.
so
So let's say,
Vivek, I mean, so I'm sure people who want to implement this will get more into detail. But from a very normal layman perspective, I mean, can
Mhm.
you just tell us more about how are businesses using it? So let's say if we have an e-commerce website and we are
So,
selling whatever, we are selling groceries or we are selling clothes. How can we use this? Like, and how does it help my customers? Like, how does it help
so
me do my business?
right. So fundamentally, there are see as a communication channel, right? There are you can do a lot with it, right? Think of everything which you have been doing so far with email or SMS,
Hmm.
for example, right? And apply the same rules here as well, right? End of the day, it is another medium for you to communicate to your users with, another channel to communicate with your users right now. Okay, so for example, if you have an online store, right, you can look at some of the classic use cases, including retargeting, right? So people who have, let's say, abandoned your cart, you can bring them back to your website by sending them a notification, right? That's one classic use case, right? Number two could be you could use push notifications for upselling and cross-selling, right? So for users who have bought a specific product, right, you could start communicating with those users regarding sending them another product, which is usually bought with that product, right? You go to classic upselling, cross-selling, right? For example, if I bought blue jeans, right, you could sell me a white T-shirt as well, right? Uh, third use case which we have seen a lot of e-commerce stores experimenting is typically around classic sales promotions, right? So a lot of marketers out there. So more than often, e-commerce stores leverage flash sales to drive traction, right? You could communicate with all your users using push notifications, right, and ensure that they come back to the website. We have seen uh, we've seen great click-through rates on these push notifications, right? These would typically revolve between 5% to 20%, depending upon how you're targeting. But fundamentally, the response rates are at least 10 times that of what you'd have seen typically in an email or an
Oh,
SMS,
nice,
right?
nice. And I think the best part is that it's free. I mean, or most of it is free. Once you have implemented, so
Yeah.
the basic product is free, right? Is that correct, Vivek?
Yeah, I mean, so depending upon what you want to do, right? But fundamentally, uh, as ISO2 at least, right, we offer our core offering for free of cost, right?
Right.
As a marketer, you could come on the platform, set it up, and I literally, start sending on notifications in 5 minutes if you want to. Yeah,
Right. So for a user, like for a website owner, business owner, it's only 5 minute implementation, and then you can send out
correct.
communication essentially free of cost if they are actually signing up with
Absolutely,
all of
absolutely,
your brands,
absolutely. Right. It's sort of,
right?
yep, correct. Yeah. So sort of
Which are
give you a
Vivek?
quick
Which are
sense of
the
use cases.
websites, Vivek? Like which are the top websites in India that we may know of who use
Uh,
notification? Like
okay, so quite a few actually use notifications right now. Right from banks to e-commerce websites to news websites. Right? A lot of people now are using notifications aggressively. Right? To name, for example, we personally work with quite a few of them: Jabong, Cooves, Limeroad.com, StockByLove.com. Right? These are some of the websites on the e-commerce side who are using push notifications. Then in the travel segment, you could look at Oyo Rooms, Make My Trip. You could look at Club Mahindra, right? Some of the leading brands, again using push notifications, right? Of course, on the news and media sites, you're looking at likes of Indian Express, Z News, Dainik Bhaskar, right? So the adoption has been pretty aggressive, specifically in the past few months, right? Because the technology essentially works like a charm right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Just sort of show people how how typical notifications would So this is how, for example, affiliates are using push notifications, right? Affiliates use push notifications for retargeting, right? And here is a good example of a retargeted notification of a notification for retargeting, right? Uh, Here's an example of a brand trying to drive traction in terms of their flash sales,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh,
So Vivek, one
right.
question here,
Sure.
can this messaging be personalized? Like in email, can my message say, Amitabh, here is your offer, your message say, Vivek, here is your offer. Can we do that?
Well, yes, absolutely, absolutely, right. As a marketer, right, you could personalize the notification content to the T, right? You can you it could capture your email, your name, what you were doing last time, right? For example, uh, it could say, "Hi, Amitabh, you had added red shirt on your cart, right? But have not checked out. Please use this coupon Amit10 to check out and complete the process." Yeah. So yes, it can be personalized absolutely.
Okay, great, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. So one more question on this, like on the capability. Tell me about segmentation. So can I send different messages to people by location to say Gurgaon people, Delhi people, Bombay people? Can I send different message to men versus women? Are these segmentation possible? Like,
Well, yes, right. Again, depending upon the tool which you're using, right. But yes, fundamentally as a marketer, you can segment because you can personalize. You can also segment your subscribers very comfortably, right? For instance, we at Isoto, we specifically focus on so we stress a lot on segmentation, right? We allow marketers to segment using 5 key filters, right? One, of course, being location, right? Second being the device, so you could target people specifically uh, depending upon whether they had used mobile or desktop to subscribe, right? You could also segment them basis their browsing behavior on the website, right? So, for example, if somebody was browsing let's say the appliances section, or if somebody was browsing the mobile devices section, right? You could send out different communication to these sort of users, right? You could also personalize basis what the users had done in past, right? So, for example, if somebody already transacted with your on your platform, right? You could send them a highly personal notification saying that, hey, you had bought umbrellas last month, right? Why don't you check out these cool winter jackets as well? Yeah. Without.
okay, okay. Good.
Yeah.
One other question I'm getting is that we have these push content service providers, wherein people have these overlays that actually screen takeovers, wherein people
Yeah.
say, that we get, say, while exiting a website, when entering or sign up for my whatever blog here, or here is a 10% discount. Can we also send those kinds of takeover messages using web push notification?
So, see, web push notifications are fundamentally meant to be off page, right? They're not meant for. So, web push notifications will not be on the page, right? They're on the browser as a concept, right? There are multiple tools out there which you can use to actually create those on-page alerts and on-page notifications, right? Uh, but not I0 specifically. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
For
But you're
example, you
saying
can
that there
deploy
are
on.
some other providers who can do
Yeah,
both.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So, for example, so you could look at let's say a webengage.com,
Maybe
right?
correct, correct.
WebEngage. You could look at Mixpanel, right? They help you create personalized, segmented, personalized alerts, alert boxes, right, which will appear to the
Yes.
user once the user is browsing your site on the browser. Yeah. What we
Correct.
focus on specifically as a product is off-page notifications, which are delivered irrespective of the user being on the site or not on the website. Yeah.
Or not on the side. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a great differentiation. Okay.
Okay. Sure. Anything else that you would like me to cover? I think
Uh,
we've gone through the entire
yeah. So
thing.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. No, I think what people would want to understand is that who are the people using it? You already said that. How are they using it? You already said that. It's almost, at least the basic product is free. So there's no addition. So even though you can do remarketing with Facebook and Google AdWords, it's still whenever for your exposures or when people click, you have to pay some money every time, right? This is like
Yeah.
one-time implementation, but you benefit lifetime, right? And I'm sure you may have a premium model wherein you may charge for something, some premium features, but basic product is free. So anything else that you would tell the viewers as to why they should definitely use this if they have not tried it
See,
as well? Like what is, yeah,
sure. So, the underlying point is simple, right? The end user today wants something which is sleek, simple, and 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 sort of creates a better experience, right? The only reason why you as a marketer should look at this channel, right? And it doesn't really matter whether you're building it in-house or you're using a tool like Izuto, right? Irrespective of the platform, right? As a communication channel, it's a very powerful channel, right? Because you have direct access to the end user, right? You have direct access. Whatever you send to the end user will be seen for sure, right? There's That's literally 100% assurance on your communication being seen, right? So definitely use the product, use the channel to communicate with the end user. Push out anything from blog updates to product catalog updates, to sale offer, right? But do use a channel to bring the user back to your website, right? Because it sort of fundamentally is used. I mean, the one thing it does very well is create powerful experiences, right? And
sure,
that's what we all really want to do, right?
correct,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. So great. So those were the all questions. You have anything else? We have a couple of minutes if you want to say a few things before we wrap up.
Well, that's pretty much it, right? I mean, my personal email ID is v@azuto.com. I'm sort of happy to take more questions there. You also sort of send out a tweet to @Vivek, right? And I'll be happy to answer your questions there as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, great. So I'm sure if people have questions, if they come to us, we will be very happy to forward them to you.
Please do
So
that.
thank you, Vivek. Thanks for your time. I hope
Sure.
viewers benefited, or they will continue to benefit, and I'm sure they will try out this new product that you guys have come up with, and which
Sure.
will, I'm sure, help them grow their business. So thank you, Vivek.
All
Thanks a lot.
right. Cool. Thank you, Vidya. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
everyone for tuning in. Bye.